I'm ready. I can't see you guys, but I'm ready.
Oh, you can't see us? We are
Now
looking
I
so
can.
great.
Now, hi guys.
Hi.
You guys are all set.
Good morning, everyone. It's February 14th, the meeting of the Wareham Affordable Housing Trust. And noting a quorum, could we get a roll call? Kyle, do you want to do that? Do you want?
Well, please, let's do a roll call for a quorum, starting with Ms. Slavin
Sandy Slavin.
Judith Whiteside.
Jim Manise?
and Carl Schultz, clerk. I note a quorum is present and it's 9:01.
All right, thank you very much. I actually printed my agenda so I don't have to walk back and
Oh,
forth.
I have it.
I just,
Yeah, okay.
a lot of times I just work.
Yeah, no, I do too, yeah.
Okay, minutes to review and approve. Did everybody have an opportunity to look at the minutes of December 10th, 2024?
I did, and I would,
And my order, I fixed the spelling, Ms. Slavin's name. I sent it out early this morning.
you did.
Well, it didn't happen everywhere, just once.
But it's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, I don't know.
And-
I fixed it. And thanks, Judith, for finding it for me.
I'll move to approve them.
Second.
Just so you know, I think at the very end, you spelt my name with a C instead of a,
Oh, no.
and I wasn't gonna say anything, but it seems to be.
I can fix that.
I know
I'll
that,
fix
that's not a problem. So we have a motion and a second.
Who made them? Judith made the motion.
I did,
right?
yes.
I made the second.
So, do we have, all in favor?
We need to do a count because we're on Zoom.
A roll
Can we
call.
make an amended motion, please?
Well, that's a scrivener's,
to
but
approve-
sure.
Motion to approve.
With the
as
scrivener's error,
Amended to correct the spelling of Jim's last name.
or any scrivener's error, let's leave it at that.
Or any scrivener's errors.
So that was my motion.
So made.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, can I get a roll call vote? Ms. Slavin,
Yes.
Mrs. Whiteside, Ms.
Yes.
Whiteside. Mr. Schultz,
Yes.
Jim Manise, yes. All right, so that's 4-0-0. Thank you. Moving on. Is anyone in the waiting room out there? No?
Did I see Mr. Boschman come in?
Yes.
He did. So no one's in the waiting room?
No.
Okay. So 801 Main Street, I guess that's a continuance. We've got the grant, we looked at it, but we don't have them here to discuss it with them. So, we need a motion to continue?
No, because it's not a public hearing.
Yeah,
Okay,
just.
thank you.
Jim, just,
Go ahead.
have we gone through and audited to make sure it's correct and complete? Correct is the wrong word, complete?
Well, when I reviewed it, it looked pretty good. I don't know about anybody else.
Okay, I'll go through. I reviewed it, but I didn't.
So, I mean, if you would like to discuss it now, great. I was hoping that the proponent would be here to go through it with us in case we did have questions.
Okay, I'm not prepared with questions. I did scan it. I've got to go back and check that they added the map and block references that we asked for.
I have gotten no updates from.
Yeah, so then without the map and block references, I don't think I would consider it complete. And then one of the problems we discussed at the last meeting was without the correct map and block references, at least in my mind, it's hard for us to be clear that we've applied the deed restriction to the correct properties.
Correct, I agree.
But where would they put it in the document? There's nothing that says map and lot number.
Okay, that may be in there. Well, I think we talked about it improving our application, but because we talked about the answer, I would say, Sandy, is because we talked about it with the applicant. They could just put it in the text.
Well, they could put it under number 1.2 proof of ownership and indicates
Yeah.
there the lot and page. Yeah.
They could have added it anywhere because we asked. You're right, it's not clear on the form, but,
But they weren't here last meeting when we brought this up
Well, they
again.
are now.
They are now.
She's here right now, Nanette. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Didn't put it together. Do you want, does it matter?
Wherever you would like to sit.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Representative from 801 Main Street just walked in.
can you, Jim, what is the young lady's name?
Nanette Perkins, is it?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Hi, Lynette. This is
Hi, how are
Carl.
you?
I'm getting better.
Oh, good.
So, Ms.
Carl,
Perkins,
can you see her?
No, but that's
Wanna-
okay.
Do you want me?
can you take care of that? He's got it, I guess. Let's get you over here, maybe. Smile.
Now I can.
Okay.
All right, so, I shouldn't say so. We received your application. And reduced amount, there was some question on, Mr. Schultz just brought up and mentioned before in the last meeting, related to book and page or map and lot numbers on the application for the specific property.
Yes,
And we'd like to see that on there.
Yeah,
okay.
because what I think is the application sort of shows a main address,
Yes.
but not necessarily the address where the construction and where the deed restriction would be applied.
I'm so terribly sorry that 801 wasn't down on there, and I can email over the map numbers from the deed.
Yeah,
No, update your grant request.
please.
Okay, absolutely.
Under section 1.2 where it says proof of ownership, can you say you have a copy of the deed, but can you input into it the map and lot number of the project?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we're gonna update our application to make it more clear that we wanna capture that information.
Gotcha, but absolutely.
Thank you.
And you're asking for $60,000 now,
That's correct.
which is a little bit easier for us to look at. Are any questions from the board here for Ms. Perkins?
If you could just summarize the project, like in 7 sentences,
Certainly.
please.
A small development tucked away. It will have a total of 3 new buildings. And one will be renovated, the barn that's there right now. The people that live here, while it may not be huge numbers, will have access to the amenities. Rolling distance, I mean, it's literally right there, which include cardio, workout areas, cardio, stamina, weight, a clubhouse that's available for them for free to use for parties, which they do a lot, especially this time of year. Basketball courts, community garden.
Is that in the documentation? Is that availability actually in the documentation in the grant application?
I don't remember seeing it.
No, we were strictly focused on what that money would have been used for, or what the money would have been used for, but I would be happy to do that.
It seems to me that that would be an appropriate
So
add.
section 1.3, brief description of the project, I would include what you're talking about is a shared area for community.
Thank you. That's a good suggestion, too.
Be happy to.
So Lynette, did you finish your overview of the project?
Sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's okay. I think I stopped because I know I need to put it in the documents when I update and include the map number as well. But it will get the benefit of the shared areas, They will be, refuse and recycling will stay where it is, although we are having a new enclosure built. We're going to use as passive as we can for rain conservation. These units, all the utilities will be included. So residents won't have to deal with that. It's gonna be another small, calm, tucked in and nobody knows it's there type development. It's like 8:15, it's amazing how many people don't know it's there.
Thank you very much. That was helpful.
My pleasure.
And the affordability runs from
One's from 30
to 80,
to 80 max.
right?
Yeah, and just a question again for me, I know I asked.
Sorry.
Anyway, Wingate Management is the management firm, Wingate Partners?
That is correct. Wingate Companies is the management company. John Scanlon or JKS Scanlon owns the development, but it is in 801 Villages LLC.
Great.
Which,
So, just again, for my completeness, Wingate will manage 801, they manage 815 today.
That is correct.
Do they manage any other properties for you? This is not a negative, I'm trying.
No, absolutely. No, that's fine.
We're working with Wingate on another property, and I'm trying to get the breadth of.
Right. So Wingate does also manage Woodland Cove, Janelle, and quite a bit more. They're coming south. So
Okay, great.
they're picking up a lot.
but the applicant is JKS Scanlon.
The applicant is 801 Villages.
Right.
This wasn't my choice. The attorney did it. 801 Villages Maine LLC or some, the exact name is written.
Right.
I thought it was
Not-
Village at 801 Main Street, maybe LLC, maybe. The
Doesn't
way,
just
yeah.
flow.
Whatever the W9 would be. That's
Okay.
yeah. We're kind of going through this as Mr. Schultz said with Woodland Cove and how the town administration wants it structured and who's going to be on the record.
Okay.
Not the management company. per
Right. No,
se,
it's
but-
never Wingate. It's
So it's a kind of a learning curve, and they keep us in the straight and narrow,
got
and
it.
I thank them for that. Also on what was brought up, the brief discussion we had last time, is that there had not been yet a deed restriction for affordability on the first
There's a dream.
grant you received from community preservation, I believe,
We have a deed restriction on it in perpetuity. In this project,
on 801,
yes. Perpetuity.
but that's on the other village you have at 815,
No,
right?
815 is a separate,
Correct.
that's tax credit.
I didn't see it listed. I mean, I did not see it recorded. I will look again.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
Please, I mean, I'll look,
And-
100%.
Mrs. Slavin may know better than I saw it on the other one. But-
Which other one?
8.
815? Okay, yeah, no,
I
801,
didn't see 801, but it doesn't mean I didn't
no problem.
miss it when I was scanning through the
I can-
registry.
I can include that if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah, to back that up, I don't see 801 Main Street on our SHI list, which is surprising. I see
That's too bad.
815. So there's something
Well, there's no houses
missing in
there.
that.
No,
What?
There's no buildings.
Yeah, there is a
But-
building there. Right on 801.
But that building is not part of the restricted portion, is it?
The house has been renovated?
Unofficially, yes, the house is.
Yeah.
We're keeping the whole thing, but that has nothing to do, because that's not new
With the-
construction.
Okay. So it is part of it.
Yes, but not in regards to funding or the renovations we've done.
So we should have at least the one, and then 7 others,
Yes,
so it'll be a total of 8.
yes.
Okay. 7 plus 1.
Lots of
Totally.
projects
Yeah.
swimming in my brain.
I'm looking at your quick deed. Deed says the lot, but it doesn't tell us the map. I'm surprised it wasn't more specific on your quick claim deed. Interesting, okay.
Yeah, and just again, from my saying, there's 2 different references. At the Registry of Deeds, there's book and plate. And for the town, there's map and lot, and we try and keep all those things in sync.
Okay.
So if you could do those things, resubmit your application with the corrections. And if the board's happy with it, we could vote on it next meeting,
Which will be in February?
February 11th, I believe, if I looked correctly. Excuse me.
And your application should your deed for the purchase says Villages 801 Main Street LLC, so that probably should be the name of this applicant.
Villages.
Villages 801 Main Street LLC is on the deed.
It just doesn't flow. But yes, I will get that.
Sandy, are you holding the deed in your hand?
Yes, I am. It came with the, yeah, I got it.
Application.
Okay, so for the record, for my notes.
Oh, you know, yeah, I have the,
That's a document I just have to list.
yes.
Okay, and you got it with the application?
I don't know when I got it, but I got it.
It was included.
It was included, the application says a copy of the deed is attached, so it had to have been included with the application,
Thank you.
or I wouldn't have it.
If I can't find it, I'll ping you and you could send me a copy.
Okay,
Yeah, it was sent with
Right,
everything
yeah.
last month.
It was a whole bunch of stuff.
So I guess at this moment, if there's no other questions from the board, and if you could address those things, like I said, we'll have it on the agenda next month, have discussion and hopefully a vote. Everything will be cleaned up and ready to go and see what the board feels.
Sounds perfect to me.
But thank you for considering our comments last time, a few months ago, and adjusting the ask. That's very helpful.
Thank you so much for your time, and I
Thank
will
you.
see you in February.
Have a nice day.
You too.
See you next time. Carl,
Great.
did
Yes,
you
ma'am.
get, the name was Nanette. Did you get the N?
Oh, Nanette, not
Yeah,
Nanette.
Nanette.
Yeah.
you haven't, they haven't been
Yeah,
paid?
there's no.
He had it as Lynette, yeah,
No, I think.
right.
Will we pay you directly?
Nanette.
Sorry, yes, that's correct.
I will make a note.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
All
So,
set?
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
I'm going to jump out of order and go to 5.2, seeing we have
Mhm.
Mr. Boschman here. And because he's still actively working and everything. So, Mr. Boschman, how are we making out?
What were you talking about, Jim?
We jumped down, I took it out of order, we're down to 5.2, because Mr. Boschman's here and we have some other things.
5.2 is the agenda number, it's not the address.
Right, it's 6 Chapel Lane.
So we're gonna meet tomorrow, weekly meetings, and we're gonna come to terms with a closing date, I believe,
With the state.
from everyone, from the banks and all.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That would be great.
The
for
only
all of
one
us.
thing that we're waiting for from the town is a signature on the regulatory agreement.
Right, and that's, town council has it. Could you just identify yourself for the record?
Sure, my name's Stephen
Sorry.
Boschman,
That's all right.
6 Chapel Lane LLC.
Thanks.
And I understood you didn't need a variance from zoning. It got, the objection
Yeah, that
to
got
6
rescinded,
Chapel got rescinded.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Congratulations.
That's
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, we got the permits last Monday,
Good.
and so,
And how many units is this gonna be? I'm sorry,
No,
Mayor.
no, go ahead, please.
this
go
is
ahead.
6 units total.
Okay.
6 affordable and 6 Chapel Lane.
It's been a haul.
It's been a while, yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a tour,
Yeah.
trust me.
6 3-bedrooms?
6 3-bedroom, just me.
Thank you.
So, any questions from the board?
Well, I just know that we are waiting for town council to approve so that we can sign off.
Yeah, so we get that approved, you get all the approvals from the bank and the state, and then we can have discussion and vote on it next time too.
What are we discussing?
Just in general, that everything is wrapped up, completed, and then we can have a vote to release funds. If the board so
So-
chooses.
Specifically, what are we waiting for before we can release the funds?
Specifically, this is, did you just say there's an agreement that, the
Yeah, we're
attorneys-
waiting for the town to sign the regulatory agreement.
Regulatory
That the state
agreement.
drew up, so,
the approval, final approvals from the state for the funding and also the bank for the funding, all signed, sealed, and delivered. And then I would assume there's gonna be conservation restriction, I mean, a deed restriction, I'm sorry. That's already been generated,
that's already in place.
okay. And so we would, maybe we could be signatories on that instead of creating our own.
Could you do me a favor? Could you email Lynn Sweet on all your requirements and CC me on that? And she'll
Regulatory.
address all that. And that way we're not missing a loop.
No, that's all right. Restriction.
And I
Carl, go ahead.
think that's in our grant agreement document, which is signed and executed by us and the town and Steve's company. That's in place.
The language wise.
Yeah, and it speaks to, I don't remember we had language around the deed restriction.
Correct. What we did
Right.
previously on Great Neck Road, we did a joinder agreement with the state, and we actually voted as a select board to be part and party to that in the future, so that we're not taxed with creating documents. We come to an agreement, we agree to go along with what the state, or we could agree to go along with the state restriction language reads, and just be signatories on that and not have multiple, if necessary, I guess we could
Yeah,
ask
well,
the attorney.
I'm reluctant at this point. We have an agreement in place. I don't want to add new conditions.
But the actual restriction that gets recorded.
But I thought that's already part of the agreement.
Yes.
Yeah, it's already part of the documentation, I believe.
My mistake.
So I think the
Well,
only
let's-
thing that my understanding from the emails that I've gotten from you and from Ken, Mr. Buckland, is we're only waiting for Rich Bowen, Town Council, to
And
let us go ahead with signing it.
ours is in perpetuity.
Right.
I don't know if the state's is.
Ours is, property is.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'll review that again and,
Jim, if you don't have, will you have a copy of the signed grant agreement? We can, if the language is insufficient, we need to deal with that quickly.
well, correct. We have like a month and I could forward that to the attorney. I'll look
I'm
to see if I have
reluctant
the language, but I probably.
Okay. We've reviewed it so many times. I'm okay.
I probably do have it, just gotta find the most recent iteration and go with that. So we'll,
Yeah,
Go
there's
ahead.
a signed copy. We went through this. There's a signed, the town signed it.
right,
I signed it. I don't know if Steve or Lynn, I believe Steve signed it and it's in the contract system.
Yeah, and I have a copy of it, and everything was signed, September 10th.
Correct.
Everything's in place.
So
And
what are we waiting for Rich to say we can sign?
The
Regulatory
the
agreement
regulatory
from
agreement.
the state,
Oh.
and there's no modification.
It's nothing for us, Cindy. It's part of his approval process.
Right, it's,
It's
it's,
just town,
Yeah.
town council. has
But
it.
everything's
And
not
we
approved
require
yet.
that so we can, before we can issue the funds?
no,
Then why aren't we giving him this money now?
Because nothing, everything is not signed, sealed, and delivered. It's not been signed off for the loan from the state as a final approval, nor the bank on a final approval.
Okay, I didn't realize that was a requirement before releasing funds. I guess I must have missed it.
It's not in our process yet.
But we
No,
are, but we are forcing it to our process. Okay.
All right.
I mean, if someone wants to make a motion to vote. I mean,
okay, I'll make a motion to, release the funding subject to the final sign off of the state regulatory agreement, which currently is being reviewed by town council on behalf of the planning department and the select board for signature.
Second.
Again, so we got a second discussion. Any discussion?
Let's move on.
Well, okay, that's your discussion.
That's my
Carl?
discussion.
I thought we had this all resolved, so I'm okay where we're at. I mean, I'm okay to moving on.
Ms. Whiteside?
I'm okay to moving on.
Okay. Again, my only concern is, I like to see everything signed, sealed, and delivered in place before we release funds. So that's my statement. I said it before. And it's nothing to do with any particular project. It's just, I think all projects should be handled that way.
I will make sure that the instant we sign it, I will forward it to this board, and because you'll know about it.
And then we can.
And that would
request the
trigger
funds
the,
to be released.
that would
to-
trigger the release. And
Okay.
that's how I would hope that my motion would seem to be. And I understand your,
No, that's
Does that- yeah.
fine. So we have
Okay.
a motion and a second discussion, and can we get a vote?
Yes,
Ms. Whiteside?
Yes.
Ms. Whiteside, Ms. Slavin, yes?
yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
And I'll go along with that. Jim Manish, yes.
thank you.
All right, now,
Go ahead, hold on. We're up. We voted on that.
yes.
4-0-0. And once we get the regulatory agreement, I can process, you're giving me permission to process a request for a check to be made out.
And how will
Yes,
you
sir.
do that process?
I will get a little form,
You have the form.
fill it out, and
fill it
forward it
out.
with appropriate documentation.
What type of documentation?
The grant agreement and the vote. We haven't, the vote from today's meeting,
Do you
saying
think
that we can
accounting,
release it,
do
huh?
you think accounting?
And I
we'll
will
need a
send it
grant
to
agreement?
accounting. Well,
No, you can't send it to accounting.
I can.
What funds are we using?
What funds?
Our funds or CPA?
Oh, are we using CPC
using the-
funds?
I'm trying to find out, are we taking it out of our limited funds ourselves, or are we gonna ask out of the CPA 150,000? I thought we voted on using the 150,000.
From CPA?
Yeah.
Then I will put the paperwork together and forward it to the CPC.
All right, and what do you think?
And then you will have to request for funds to be released. and
Yes.
Check to be,
But you think the
Issue.
grant agreement will be sufficient for accounting to release it with our approval?
it depends
all we
on how
have.
the CPC votes and forwards it
Yep.
to accounting.
Okay,
If you're taking us out of the direct interaction with accounting, then we send it to you. If you're not happy with the paperwork that's necessary to process it through accounting from CPC,
I would,
then however, we
as
just
the
wanna get
treasurer
it
of
done.
CPC, I will let you know that the grant agreement will be sufficient to have the funds released from the $150,000 we got from town meeting. Because I don't
With the
think,
vote, and also the vote of the board today, approving
yeah,
the
you,
release of funds. So we need that
so you,
grant agreement and a vote of the,
you have the
board.
form you need, right?
do I have the form I need? It's a
You'll-
pretty simple form. I believe I have it, but if you want to forward one to me electronically, we can do that.
Excuse me.
So I believe you were correct. It would be
Because
taken
I
on a
thought we
CPC
voted,
fund.
I thought we voted,
I'll review, and Mr. Schultz, do you recall otherwise?
I'm leaning towards Sandy, but I'll go back and review the minutes and my notes and let you know.
well then, how about we make a motion right now that the release of the funds for 846 Chapel, what was it, 30?
Six chapel lane,
Yeah, it was for 30,000.
50,000 from the
50,000.
Housing Trust and 150 from CPC, total of 200.
How much from us, 50,000?
Correct.
50,000
Okay,
from each.
I make a motion to confirm the vote, I make a motion that the 50,000 for Chapel Lane be
I don't think you need the motion. I think you got every piece of paperwork in
no,
place.
but I want it motion that we will use the 150,000 CPA grant to pay for this.
Chapel Lane,
Chapel
from
Lane.
CPA grant, okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to use the $50,000 from a CPA grant for the 6 Chapel Lane project. Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none. Mrs. Slavin,
Yes.
Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Yes.
myself, yes, James Manise. Okay. Are we good on this, everybody?
Yes.
Judy, will you pass that down, please?
Sure.
I am.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully we could get Mr. Boschman launched.
Yeah, I'm sure. Do you have any questions, Mr. Bolsheman?
No, I'm good.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
your
guys.
patience.
Really, yeah, no, everything good, everything, good things take time, I understand.
Okay. We'll get this done and over to CPC.
Thank you, everyone.
Just kind of slide it through Mrs. Slavin, or
I will do my best.
as always, and I appreciate it. I guess we're good.
We're good.
All right, guys, thank you
Thank
very,
you.
very much. Appreciate it.
All right, let's jump back to 4.2. Kind of minor, but grant application process. I just want to update the current year from 24 to 25 on the webpage, which I should have just done, but I wanted to run it by the board. And I'd like to think about going back to accepting the applications on a rolling basis and not just quarterly.
Whenever they come in, they come in.
Right.
I have no problem with when they
I
come
thought
in,
we
they
had
come
some
in.
dates set, but,
Well, we did describe a process that was quarterly batches, which,
right. We'll just accept them as they come in on a rolling basis.
well, then we should update the process document.
Do we need to update that, or do we want to just do it as
Just do it.
just do it as a board consideration and not
Yeah.
go through
Okay,
changing?
we
the
don't
whole
wanna,
document?
okay.
What do you,
that's
I
fine.
mean, Carl, if you have,
Does it say
Strong
something on the
feelings?
application?
it does, that we accept them and then we review them on a quarterly basis. Am I correct, Carl?
Yes, that's sort of what we said. We batched them.
But is that on the application itself?
It was on the application and we have a process document with the application.
So
So-
that's why I addressed it, because if someone comes in,
I-
go ahead. Go ahead, Carl.
Go ahead, finish your thought. I'll go back and look at all those documents and highlight if I think changes need to be made and where.
Yeah, and it's not, again, it's just a convenience thing, and we're not flooded with applications. If someone you know,
I'm
misses
not
a date.
opposed, I'm not
No, no, I'm
opposed to
just-
the idea.
Okay, well, thank you. You're gonna review, you're gonna look at that.
So that would be on the next agenda
I will
to
put it
just,
on there.
yeah.
And also the criteria for award. Looking at some of the, documentation of assets and whatnot for, the grant of Woodland Cove. I noted that people can be at an income level, but yet have liquid assets, which to me are large enough to assume the first month or it would not necessitate an assistance, in my eyes, for moving into a place.
So isn't that part of the documentation then? Or isn't
I
it?
don't think there's any limits on assets or anything, and there's no questions on that. I noticed it when I was reviewing the tenant financial application status for Woodland Cove. We received it, it has a lot of personal information, so I just sent it to accounting. I didn't send it around.
You sent what to accounting?
The actual tenant information.
Why would accounting need that? And
Because,
what would they do with it? And that's
it's good.
personal.
correct. Because the grant is for the people
Yeah, and
in
you
those,
just
in
shared
those
that.
units. It's not for Woodland
No,
Cove.
but you shared
So
the
we need-
people information with accounting.
Yeah,
So what are they gonna do?
and we already discussed this last time.
Okay.
So, okay, and yes, and you said you didn't want it, and I didn't send it around to the group because it has personal information.
Yeah, so accounting now has it. Does it mean if we submit a payment to Woodland, we put a payment in for Wingate for $56,000, they're gonna go through the list and say, I can't do it to Sam, I can't do it to Judy, I can't do it to Carl?
Do what?
You're not
Not
supposed to.
pay. Why does accounting need to know the people that we're going to ask for the
Because it's only for people who qualify.
All right,
And that development has people over the 60%
and
level.
wait a minute, so you're gonna say to
So
accounting?
they sent us a list of the people in verification of what the individual finances were, just like if they applied to us directly for assistance. We can't just go say, okay, here's some money.
So CPC is gonna submit a payment request to accounting for $56,000 to Wingate, right?
Correct.
All right, now,
Go
let me-
ahead.
then accounting now has this list of 56 people. They're gonna say, I don't pay this one, I pay this one, I don't pay this one, I pay this one.
No, and
Then
if
why
they
does
have, if they have a
accounting-
question on it, then it's their responsibility to inquire about it.
No, what
And
ma-
whether that person should, or family or whomever, is eligible to receive it.
Then what-
But that's, go ahead.
excuse me. What makes accounting have that knowledge to say yay or nay to one of our $56,000 payments? What makes you think they've got the expertise in that office to say yay or nay?
Again, the grants are for the individual people. Wingate is providing us an administrative service by already vetting and showing us through paperwork and documentation that these people are qualified. It's just, and the grants are for the individual people in the apartments. We didn't make a grant to Woodland
Wait,
Cove
Jim, hold over there.
indirectly, and
So-
Wingate is not the recipient. Wingate is the administrator. This is another thing.
Wingate is the recipient
No,
to
hold on,
manage.
Hold on.
Who do we pay if we don't pay
Hold
Wingate?
on,
All
please.
right.
Mr. Sullivan and, well, through Ms. Lizon, in discussion with Mr. Sullivan, they feel Woodland Cove is the recipient. Wingate is the management. So the check we request would be made out to Woodland Cove as Wingate to management.
We
as
never
manager.
said that.
Well,
That's not what the agreement says.
excuse me. In order to get this process through, and if people who have the authority to help us navigate the payment of this grant feel that we erred in having Wingate as the recipient, and they want it to be Woodland Cove, that's the process we need to take. And that's why I asked Mr. Schultz if he had a editable version of the grant, because I have a PDF version and I don't have a PDF editor. So he was gonna look to.
I sent you that this morning.
Okay, well, thank you. So that we could maybe utilize that as a base and change the language as necessary and appropriate to reflect that Woodland Cove is the recipient of the check and Wingate would be the administrator of the funds and do the accounting. So that's
And
where
how
we're
is that
going, and that's why we
complicated?
This is the first I've heard that we're gonna pay
Yeah,
Woodland Cove, because we've always said we will not give money to Woodland Cove. We
Right,
would give
and
it
that
to
was
the management
actually-
company.
Yeah, and
I
how is this gonna
misunderstand?
be affected by Woodland Cove selling the property?
Oh,
You
okay.
know what? Woodland Cove has not sold the property. They're still the owner of it.
All right,
I'm trying to
Okay.
process this through, and I'm not.
I understand.
Hold on, I do not want to I do not feel the need to have an argument over the name on that document. The owner of the property at this point in time is Woodland Cove. Wingate is the management or the administrative management for them. If my town administrator and the director of accounting are telling me that they feel that it should be Woodland Cove on there, then I'm trying to
Okay,
appease them and have it so that we can provide a grant that the board voted to provide to that
I want it
recipient.
in writing.
May I just make a
Hold on.
suggestion? Yeah.
You may,
Yeah.
please.
I would suggest that you have a discussion Thursday afternoon. Today's Tuesday, right? Thursday afternoon with town council and the town administrator, because they're the end all, be all, end all in terms of where this is going. Because my understanding of this is that it has been kicked around specifically about who's getting the money.
Correct.
And I think that town council will advise Mr. Manise about the appropriateness of who gets the check. That would just be my suggestion. I'm coming in, sort of midway, but I think there's a lot of confusion. That's my personal opinion.
I'm fine with having Mr. Bowen indicate in writing who the check should be made payable to, because it will be up to CPC to submit the grant payment.
So you're gonna,
So,
so if there are
So
50
that-
people getting checks, you're gonna.
no.
Oh.
People that said, then when CPC sends the check payment request to accounting, who's the name on the check?
Exactly.
In four,
No, the
Hitting
check
excuse me,
doesn't
wait,
say
wait,
for.
wait.
The check just says a name.
But the agreement says for paid to Woodland Cove Inc. for
The benefit
But
of.
that's not on
correct.
the check.
that, you know what?
It would be the document supporting the
If you-
request for
Same
payment.
as if you put a check out for Wingate Management.
Carl, are you happy with my suggestion? No.
Yes, Judy, there's a long history and it's been delayed for almost 2 years now. But just for your information, this document was vetted and approved by Rich before I put it into the contract system.
I'm aware of that. I'm just trying to move it forward.
Same as I'm
Mr.
trying to
Schultz.
do.
Yeah.
And
And
if people, if signatories for the town are saying, no, this is what you gotta do, why, we have to try to work with them to resolve it. Do you know what
I'm guessing that in your discussion, if you choose to see Rich and Derek at the same time on Thursday, that it will get resolved.
All right. We have a housing assistant payment contract that's been signed. It says, and Wingate Management Company LLC. That's who we have the agreement with.
Fine, do you have a signature from the town administrator to release the funds? No.
We've never asked
On the
for it.
agreement. No, you don't have a signature on that agreement.
That document, Jim, is not an agreement for funds. That's an agreement to contract with Wingate Management to administer payment of the funds.
So, I understand what you're saying. If I'm,
I understand what you're struggling with.
and
Jim.
I'm trying to process this through, and however whatever legal advice Mr. Bowen provides, and if Mr. Sullivan agrees and signs the document, he needs to sign the document.
Right.
Otherwise, if not, then let's just bypass it and and send it to. And
Jim, I fully understand your frustration.
So
I
if you
move
wanna
that
get it
we
done-
I move that we authorize the chair of the Affordable Housing Trust to meet with the town administrator and town council to appropriately word the language of the,
contract.
what's the name of the thing? Sandy, the document, the agreement.
You just read.
It's in front of you, the payment. I can't, I just don't remember it.
What's the name of the
Sandy, you have it in
document?
front of you.
CPA grant,
No,
CPA
not that. He's trying to change the agreement we have with Wingate Partners. What's the name of that?
It says housing assistant payment contract.
Okay, so I move that we authorize the chair of the Affordable Housing Trust to work with the town council and the town administrator to appropriately revise the housing grant payment agreement such that we can move forward with issuing funds
If necessary.
when necessary.
Well,
or
if necessary.
as necessary.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
to
I understand.
change if necessary
Right.
I would ask you to do that and then I'd be happy to second it.
Yeah, if not, change the agreement if
Yeah,
necessary.
yeah. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Mrs. Slavin?
Yes.
Oh,
Ms.
I'm
Wojcik?
sorry, yes.
I'll wait for discussion. Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
Myself, yes. I try to
Jim, I
trust,
fully appreciate how frustrating this process is.
and I'm not, you know what, I go along with it, and if this is what they're telling me, and this is how I try to address it, don't wanna get argumentative about it, and,
I'm gonna give you guys boxing gloves and send you out to the recess.
Now, the next point
But,
is,
so, let me just, can you do like 3:00 or 2:30 on Thursday?
Thursday,
This Thursday, yeah.
I think so, 2:30 or 3?
Well, I would say 2:30
I will have to check, but I'm pretty sure, 2:30 or 3.
Okay, so
What do you mean on the list?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Put
put
me
you,
on the list?
I'm gonna put you on the list.
do we need a
3:00.
do we need a formal vote to request the chair of the selectmen time with Mr. Bowen?
I just did it.
as the chair of
The
the
select
select board?
board. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Let that be noted in the minute that Judy is representing the select board with this appointment with Mr. Bowen.
Yes,
I'm
thank you.
sorry.
I'll get that.
You're the one that says we can't go to Bowen unless we have approval from the committee and the approval of the chair of
Yes, I
select
just gave
board.
it to him
Okay.
Yep.
All right, next point.
and asked him for.
Okay, so,
Should we
go ahead,
That-
Sandy.
Should we vet the list of 56 people to say who that gets payment, yes or no,
No,
or
they-
leave
they-
it up to accounting?
They appropriately, being they, Wingate, sent the people who reflected what the grant agreement stated at the 60% level or lower.
Yes,
So,
and you said you sent it to accounting so they could remove people.
no, just so they'd have the list of, and know that all the individuals that we're sending the funds for, meet the criteria, as voted on by the
Aren't we
board.
saying that by approving the 56,000?
Yeah, but you need documentation.
What? I'm
You
going
need
through the
not-
list of 56 names and say, I can't pay him, he got too much money, because he's
What?
got another asset.
No, see, you know,
I don't know
we're
why
not looking
accounting
at
has-
asset. I'm just stating, when people apply, this is what I brought up when I said criteria. When individuals apply, you could have an income lower than the 80%. And 80% around here is not low, really, at least as far as I'm concerned. So,
But
but
Wingate
hold
did
on,
that for us.
so you qualify, but on the other
Wingate did
hand,
it.
you could have $200,000 or 100,000 or 50 or $20,000 in your bank account. And you're asking us for $1,000 to assist you in your moving into
But
an apartment. And
Wingate vetted those people. Why should we question what they vetted? Because we got nothing in our policy that says, look at their checking account.
I'm not, I'm bringing it up as a criteria to
it's-
consider as we move forward,
Oh,
not
as
with
we,
this.
okay,
That's what I stated at the beginning, this is something we
something
should
in the
consider.
future. If
Correct,
we ever do a rental assistance program again,
correct.
okay, but why does accounting have the name of the 56 people?
Why?
What are they gonna do with it?
How did you know who it's gonna be applied to otherwise?
We don't care, that's between us and Wingate, not accounting.
Do you,
Wingate
do you
gives
want
us,
me to go to and redact everything and send it to you?
I don't want it. as
That's
the-
ways in accounting I feel needed that. And they
Why?
were willing, and Wingate was willing to send it.
Why? What are they gonna do
You
with
know
it,
what?
other than have
Some
personal
questions I
property?
just don't have answers to, Sandy.
That's personal information that should not have been shared.
Well, yeah or no, I mean,
Oh.
it's part of the, if someone applies to us, again, we're funding the individuals through a one-shot deal.
Yes,
Okay? So the individuals have to qualify.
and that's what Wingate
And I
has
wanna
told us.
see, and personally, you know what? I like to see that, how they qualify. Do they qualify?
Okay, have you gone through
Okay.
the 56 names that Wingate gave you?
I'm stepping out until this discussion is over with.
I went through them, and that's how you kind of see what's going on.
And is there
And-
anybody
and
we
hol-
shouldn't pay?
Hold on, so everybody's listed at that level, you know, it's a family of what? One, you get this much, family of 2, 3, 4, 5. The level goes up, right? As long as you're under the 60%. And they, you know, that's, I think they called it very low income. So they did all of that. So we need to see, I like to see a verification of those things. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is
Well, what is it-
municipal and governmental funds. And I think we have a certain responsibility. And the same as if I'm doing something
Okay,
private, you know, personal.
so you've
I
looked,
want to see documentation.
so
I just
you've
don't
looked
go.
at the list and you've said, here is what Wingate has given us. You've looked
I
at it. Have you
forwarded that
found
list.
anything to reject?
Excuse me. I think both of those individuals are confidential employees and are bound to a confidentiality. I know Mr. Sullivan is, and so I think they have the authority and
To reject a payment.
No, we didn't say anything about rejecting. I'm just showing, I'm providing information saying, these people are qualified, and this is what the funds are going for. It's not just, well, I said so, so do it. You need to have backup documentation
I
of
never-
what you're doing.
I never approved the list of, I never
That's okay.
approved the
I don't
list.
believe you had to.
Okay, I'm just very concerned that that information is now in a hand that didn't need to know. My opinion.
Well, that's okay.
You can
It's-
disagree
it's an
with it, but
opinion, And I respect you for your
'cause
opinion.
what are they gonna
Okay.
do with it? What is the county gonna do with that list?
Guys, can you move
I'm
on?
sorry.
Seriously? I mean, we've
I'm
already,
just-
I get it. I get the frustration from Carl. I'm frustrated because it's been sitting on your desk for 2
Okay.
years.
And any further discussion of substance and not argumentative debate? Hearing none, we'll move on. And,
I still have the boxing gloves, guys. You're still going down the
Okay.
Yeah, that's why you sit between me
so we
and Jim.
kind of whacked,
That's right.
we took 4-2 off the table and 5-1 off the table. I
And-
don't believe we're at the position where we can take a vote and request CPC, because I've got to meet with the attorney and Mr. Sullivan, which I think Mr. Schultz already get done, but Chapel Lane's done. SHI status, unfortunately, they denied the
Why did the state
permits.
deny?
Well, because there's a time frame that you have to submit your comprehensive permit for, but you can also do it under occupancy. So the occupancy permits are just now being released as of, I think, August for Woodland Cove, and I don't know about Littleton. So we might be able to take a second swing at it.
We can take a second swing, but the problem is that they used our new census. So the target went up.
Well,
for
the
that.
2020 census when
So,
Woodland Cove
so
is
they
on its.
moved the
sorry,
target. Instead of being 100 units, it now has to be 102 or
Woodland
whatever.
Cove, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3 are already on SHI.
Correct.
Right, so the state moved the target based on our census.
Yes,
And so we need to be able to
But you-
continue to add
you
to
can-
the list.
But that's not the only way to achieve a safe harbor for a period of 1 or 2 years. If you get a small percentage, I think it's 1% or 2%, I'd have to go look, of what the goal is, built in a time frame, whether it's when they issued the comprehensive permit and or occupancy, which is after. Comprehensive permit was issued in 2018 for Woodland Cove, right? You're just getting occupied. So there's a window of our time frame where you need to apply to have that considered for a temporary safe harbor. And the town didn't do it back then, which wouldn't really helped us. It might have been, helped us a little. But now that occupancy is permits are being issued and the units being filled, we may be able to take a swing at it that way for a temporary safe harbor. And that's what I was referring to previously.
what do we have other than 6 Chapel? What else is in the works for affordable housing? That's 6 units.
The 8 from,
What
Okay,
we're
that's-
doing is you're showing that you've achieved a small percentage of what your total
It's up, right?
requirement is.
15 Gibbs. We got
Oh, that's
35.
15 Gibbs. Yeah, but you add that to our housing unit, you also add it to our affordable unit.
and then that Cranberry,
Mm,
whatever it's called.
But it's,
Manor?
We're there, yeah, Cranberry Manor. We should be
Right, but
there.
you need a comprehensive permit. And that's only, again, that's one of the temporary things. Comprehensive permit, when the building permits are issued or when occupancy can be issued. You can do a safe harbor just under those small numbers and not the total count. Because it's a small percentage of the total and they will give you a safe harbor. They will review it. It's pretty, you have to go through the general laws and stuff and look at it and what they allow and don't allow. So that's all I can say on the SHI. Anything else on that?
Yeah, we need 104 units to make 10%.
To make
104
10%?
more.
Yeah. Not counting what we just talked about, but on the SHI list, we're short 104 units to make the 10%. So we talked about what we just talked about, it's no more than 50.
No, but we're not talking 10%. I'll go over it with you later.
Because,
I can explain it to you maybe better. I'll send you the information. You can read it.
so,
Maybe you'd be,
but Judy, did the town apply for safe harbor?
Yes.
Safe harbor?
Yes.
And we weren't at 10%, so what criteria did they use for the safe harbor request?
They used the new census documentation and said that because of that, our goal had changed.
So-
The number of units goal had changed upward.
So when the town submitted a safe harbor request,
Correct.
they were using the old,
We were using the current numbers. It was all done by Ken Buckland, went over it, and we agreed that we were there,
so they were using the 2010 census versus the 2020 census.
apparently.
Okay. All right,
So the town denied, the state
State
denied the
denied.
safe haven.
Yep.
And we're short 104 units to date.
yeah, if I take 10% of the 106 units, 10% of that is 1,081, we have 977, the delta is 104.
And of course, if you count mobile homes, then the additional 1,700 units would put us there and then some.
But we're not,
I got that. I just wanted
we're
that on the
talking
record.
apples and oranges
Yes.
here.
All
You're
right.
looking at a total count. I'm looking at a process for a temporary safe haven.
Yep.
And so if you don't understand and you don't know what the law reads, it's difficult for me to do a quick review of it. Kyle, are you online?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know. Were you talking to us or someone else?
No, I wanted to say, when the discussion comes to an end, I want to make a statement.
Please do.
Managing the SHI is not in the remit of the Affordable Housing Trust.
That's okay. It's not in our,
But we spend a lot of time arguing about
Well,
it. I agree.
you know what?
The passion is perfect. Ken is doing this.
he should be doing it. And we probably could have applied for safe harbor a couple of times on some of the projects being one.
okay.
Hold on a second here. Let me speak, would you please?
Well, I was just gonna say, you don't need to debate. I just made a
Okay,
position
a
statement.
statement. I'm good. I'm good. But then again, I just want to also say that we're part of the housing production plan, and part of that is SHI. And as we review the housing production and SHI, we should know the numbers. And it's important for the town to be aware of it, and as we are affordable housing. And it does affect the town related to development and planning and projects. I think it's important for us to discuss it, but that's okay. I will just move on. Granby Manor 2, I sent the letter, which was sent to me by Noel Humphreys. I edited it, took some of the fluff out, and sent that as we had voted to do, so that was done. I submitted the grant to Mass Housing Partnership. I haven't heard anything yet. They were going to make the decision sometime in January. And maybe we'll get it, maybe we won't. You know, that's for assistance in how we operate as a board, and our administrative processes. So that's done. Any member comments or updates or discussion? Okay.
Oh, I guess I could add, I think the selectmen, we issued a letter of support on Cranberry Manor too,
yes.
last week. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, sorry.
I saw you voted on that.
Yeah, we did, and the letter went out the next day.
Excellent. They'll be happy, and they were thankful we provided.
Yeah.
Any business under 48 hours? Anybody have anything?
Yes,
Go ahead.
last night we were considering a bylaw change for the ADUs.
Yeah.
Why is the word affordable in there at all if it's not going to be affordable or forced to be affordable?
Is that question directed at Mr.?
No, this is just,
That's a question for the planning board.
I
And-
just
and
want,
the
is there
planning department.
anybody here who has I just wanted, as Affordable Housing Trust, should we as a board be making a statement that if it's to be affordable, it must be deeded affordable, or not use the word affordable in the bylaw? As Affordable Housing Trust, does anybody have an opinion on that?
I do.
I-
It's not our business.
So if they use the word affordable, we don't care. It's nothing we can do about it.
Sandy, in support of your statement, that was referred for further study. So you can work with me or through Ken. We've got to revise the language in the bylaw anyway, or in the zoning bylaw, or in the section of the zoning. So let's make sure that it makes sense. And Jim has comments, so there's going to be some kind of process for revising that bylaw or that section of the bylaw. So let's make sure we get it done. I feel personally strongly that and I know we've talked about it, we should have an inclusionary language in our bylaw in general. But I thought for a long time that the accessory dwelling units, the goal was to make them affordable. So let's work toward that goal as appropriate.
And for an FYI, when I was on this board previously, we had requested that an inclusionary article be drafted through our planning office to be submitted. It hasn't happened to date, and I brought that up a number of times, even when we were doing the
Another
redevelopment
item-
district downtown there, what do we call that?
Mhm.
Reinvestment district, you know, to have
WRI.
inclusionary language, and we still have not done that. I truly don't have the technical expertise to put it together. We could probably, that might be something that if we do get the grant, they could help us work on.
So Carl, maybe, and again, you were, I believe, unfairly criticized for not having a meeting on your zoning bylaws, way back when. Maybe you should have a public hearing on the way that you submitted it and and have the public talk about it again, so that criticism of, you were down to the deadline, which I believe is unfair, is no longer unfair. Then you have the input from Sandy and Jim and whoever else chooses to attend your public hearing. That would just be my suggestion.
Great idea. And at our next planning, and I know we're off topic, but at our next planning board meeting, I'm going to outline my goals for the planning board. And part of that is public outreach. And to that extent, I will take to heart your recommendation. I'm not sure how or when or soon, but I have to think through your recommendation. But I take it as consistent with the goals for the planning board for 2025.
And just so you know, the town meeting warrant for the spring town meeting, you're looking at the end of February at the latest.
That'll come out?
Yep.
Because you change all the dates.
Yep.
So,
So you're gonna have to, I'll send you, well, the notice will be read into the record next week with the dates. I just finished completing that.
good.
So all articles must be submitted for Springtown meeting by the end of February.
No, that's when the warrant opens. I think it's February 4th. No, it's,
Whatever.
I'll send it to you.
You'll
Yeah.
announce it.
It'll be announced on Tuesday because I'm double checking the dates. But, so you really have a very short window there, Mr. Schultz.
I am gonna make no statement that there's any practical way that that's gonna be done by that date. Because I haven't talked to, I don't know who's gonna do the work, Judith.
Mhm.
I meant to stand up at the planning board meeting and say, you've referred the town meeting, you've referred this for further study. To whom do you expect to do this work? The planning
So-
office, as you know, is completely overwhelmed. Anyway, that's just, I understand. Thank you. Please send me the schedule.
I will.
If you send me the schedule before the 27th, I will discuss that on the 27th as
So-
well as to how we're gonna get anything done in that time, or what can we reasonably get done in that
I'll
time.
send it to you today, Carl.
Thank
Can,
It's a draft, but it will
okay,
be.
a quick question, Carl. Did those two articles originate from the planning board?
We saw them the same
No,
date.
did they
that-
originate from the
towns-
planning board?
No,
No, okay,
I
thank you.
said that. We saw them as the same time you did.
So that's, I just wanted to make that.
So who did them?
Plan.
Ken,
They made them,
Ken,
they
and
came
he-
up
and
with this
I'm gonna
idea
support Ken.
downstairs.
Oh, sorry. So downstairs did it and gave it to the planning board.
Do this.
So they didn't have any insight as to how they were to be written. Okay, I got it.
That's, I just
And
wanted to
I'm gonna
make, and that
support-
happens a lot. I wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, but also I'm gonna support Ken and the planning office. They are hamsters running in a wheel, and we do not have staff to meet all of the demand, the solar demands, the ADU demand, all the demands that the state is putting on us. We don't have the staff to respond effectively and quickly.
And I think requesting funding, as you did for solar, is important, so you can get advice from people who are in the know in those areas. And it's just not
And
so.
I am gonna make, again, we're way off topic, but I'm gonna support the concerns raised by the select board and by the finance, those people who were not, and Judith, I understand, I appreciate your vote of support for the town council.
And the
We have
citizens of the town.
We have repeatedly tried to get in front of these things, but we have no funds to hire experts before action. The only way we can hire experts at the moment is through the use of 53G funds, which is application by application funded by the applicant. So we don't have funds to hire experts to develop general policy statements.
Like, you don't have a revolving fund
Right.
which is added to each fiscal
Does
year
does not exist.
No, correct. Okay, well, thank you.
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I didn't get up and explain all that at town meeting. We as a town, we as volunteer boards deal with these issues, and the reality, it's like complaining about gravity. I'm not gonna complain about gravity, but these are the constraints the town is operating under.
It's a realization. I think most towns, municipalities have these issues. Some are more affluent and just are able to hire. But I think it was good that you requested those funds and the town meeting funded it for the solar. Any other business? Otherwise, we
I'll make a motion, we adjourn
Second.
at 10:16.
10:50, yeah. Most to adjourn.
Second.
It's non-debatable. I get that off of you, Mrs. Vice Chair. All in favor?
Aye.
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 So we're adjourned at 10:15.
Yes, we are.
10:15.
Thank you very much, everybody.